The summer sun beat down on Willow Creek, a suburban enclave where picket fences gleamed and every lawn was manicured to perfection. But in my backyard, the air was thick with chlorine and betrayal. I stood by my pool, the water shimmering like a taunting mirror, my hands trembling with rage. Karen, the Homeowners Association president with her clipboard and her smug smile, had crossed a line. She'd let her friends, strangers to me, invade my private pool, my sanctuary, without so much as a text. Now, as I gripped the wrench that would turn the drain valve, I could still hear their laughter echoing from yesterday, a sound that curdled my blood. It started innocently enough. I'd moved to Willow Creek 2 years ago, chasing a quiet life after a messy divorce. The house was my fresh start, and the pool was my pride, a turquoise oasis where I'd float on lazy afternoons, the water cool against my skin, the world's noise fading to a hum. But Karen had other plans. From the moment I moved in, she'd been a thorn in my side, her nasal voice droning at Homeowners Association meetings about community standards, while her eyes scanned for infractions. My mailbox was too modern. My roses were too red. She'd once sent me a violation notice for a single weed in my driveway, the paper folded with surgical precision. I'd ignored her, kept my head down, but yesterday, she'd gone too far. I'd come home from a double shift at the hospital, my nurse's scrub still smelling of antiseptic, to find my backyard gate ajar. The sound hit me first, splashing, shrieking, the clink of wine glasses. I froze, my keys slipping from my hand into the grass. Peering through the fence, I saw them, 3 women in garish swimsuits, lounging on my pool chairs, sipping rose like they owned the place. Karen stood at the pool's edge, her floral cover-up flapping in the breeze, barking orders like a cruise director. "Don't spill on the tiles," she snapped, oblivious to me standing there, my heart pounding in my chest. I stormed over, my sneakers squeaking on the patio. "Karen, what the hell is this?" My voice cracked, raw with exhaustion and fury. She turned, her smile faltering for a split second before snapping back into place, as fake as her spray tan. "Oh, Emma, relax. I figured you wouldn't mind. The girls needed a place to cool off, and your pool's just sitting here." She gestured at the water like it was public property, her bracelets jangling. I wanted to scream. This wasn't her pool. It was mine, paid for with every overtime shift, every tear-soaked night after my ex left. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. "Get them out. Now." She laughed, a sharp, dismissive sound that made my skin crawl. "Don't be so selfish, Emma. We're a community." The women glanced over, smirking, their sunglasses reflecting my flushed face. I felt small, exposed, like a kid caught in a schoolyard taunt. I didn't argue, I was too tired. I just turned and walked back inside, the door slamming behind me. But as I stood in my kitchen, the hum of the fridge the only sound, something snapped. I wasn't going to let Karen win. That night, I lay awake, the ceiling fan ticking above me, plotting. I remembered my neighbor, Mr. Torres, a retired plumber with a soft spot for underdogs. He'd told me stories over lemonade about outsmarting his own homeowners association back in the day, small acts of rebellion, like planting banned wildflowers or sneaking a basketball hoop past the rules. His gravelly voice echoed in my mind, "Sometimes, you gotta hit em where it hurts." By dawn, I had a plan. The next morning, I knocked on Mr. Torres's door, the scent of his coffee drifting through the screen. He squinted at me, his flannel shirt rumpled, and listened as I spilled the story. His eyes twinkled with mischief. "You want to drain that pool," he said, rubbing his stubbled chin. "I can help. But you sure?" I nodded, my jaw tight. It wasn't just about the pool anymore, it was about taking back what was mine. We worked under the cover of noon, the sun high and brutal. Mr. Torres brought his tools, his hands steady as he showed me how to open the drain valve. The pool gurgled, a low, satisfying sound, like the earth itself was swallowing Karen's audacity. Water spiraled down, leaving a slick, empty basin, the tiles glinting in the light. I felt a pang, my oasis, gone, but it was worth it. I wasn't done. I called a contractor, a guy named Jake who'd done my fence last year. "Can you fill a pool with concrete?" I asked, my voice steady now. He chuckled, thinking I was joking, but when I didn't laugh back, he agreed. "Expensive, but doable," he said. I didn't care about the cost. This was war. By afternoon, word had spread. Karen's car screeched into my driveway, her face a mask of panic. "Emma, what are you doing?" she shrieked, her voice high and brittle, like glass about to shatter. I stood by the empty pool, arms crossed, the wrench still in my hand. "Closing it," I said flatly. "Forever." Her mouth opened, then closed, her eyes darting to the drained basin. "You can't." "The community," I cut her off. "This isn't your community pool, Karen. It's mine. And you don't get to decide who uses it." She sputtered, her hands flailing, but I saw something new in her eyes, fear. For once, she wasn't in control. Neighbors started gathering, drawn by the commotion. Mrs. Lynn, who'd once gotten a fine for her son's skateboard, whispered to her husband, her eyes wide. Mr. Torres stood by me, his wrench dangling like a badge of honor. Karen's friends, the same ones from yesterday, pulled up in a shiny SUV, their faces pale as they saw the empty pool. "You're insane," one of them snapped, but her voice lacked conviction. They knew they'd overstepped. The concrete truck arrived at dusk, its engine rumbling like a storm rolling in. The neighbors watched, some with gasps, others with quiet nods. Karen was frantic now, her voice hoarse as she pleaded. "Emma, think about the property values. You're ruining everything." I turned to her, my heart steady, my voice low. "You ruined it first." The concrete poured, a gray tide swallowing the last of my pool, the sound heavy and final, like a door slamming shut. I felt a tear slip down my cheek, not for the pool, but for the weight of standing up, of saying no. That night, the neighborhood was quiet, the air thick with the scent of fresh concrete. I sat on my porch, a glass of wine in hand, the stars sharp above. Mr. Torres joined me, his chair creaking. "You did good, kid," he said, his voice warm. I smiled, but my chest ached. The pool was gone, but so was Karen's grip on me. The next homeowners association meeting, she avoided my eyes, her clipboard untouched. Whispers followed her, neighbors who'd once bowed to her now saw her for what she was, a bully who'd pushed too far. Weeks later, I planted wildflowers where the pool had been, their colors defiant against the gray concrete. Mrs. Lynn's son helped, his skateboard clattering nearby, free from Karen's rules. The neighborhood felt different now, lighter, like we'd all taken a collective breath. I'd lost my oasis, but I'd gained something bigger, my voice, my ground, my fight. And as I stood there, the breeze carrying the scent of blooms and freedom, I knew I'd do it all again. Because some things, like justice, like standing tall, are worth more than any pool.